What's up, Comic Geeks? Welcome to issue 96 of the Script Heroes podcast. I'm Katie.
And I'm Joseph, and today we're going to be talking about Batman Dark Patterns, issue 11, Batman The Long Halloween, The Last Halloween, issue 9, Blood and Thunder, issue 6, Godzilla, issue 3, DCKO, issue 1, and Transformers, issue 25.
That's right, a good list of things to talk about today, so make sure you hit subscribe to add us to your pull list, and let's jump right into Batman. DCKO number 1. This is coming to us from writer Scott Snyder of Batman, Justice League, and Noctera. The artists on this are Javi Fernandez of King Spawn, Nightwing, and Batman and Robin. Zerminico of Green Lantern, Justice League, and Wonder Woman. They took care of the interlude. The colorist is Alejandro Sanchez, and the letter is Hassan Osman Elau. Jay.
Yes.
Much anticipated DCKO number 1.
Very much anticipated, and it's a thick one there. I don't know if that's, whatever. It's an extra
It is a thick one.
Three chaptered start to this event. And I want to start by saying, and maybe this isn't the because of the way that we've talked about other DC events, maybe this doesn't sound as good as it should. But as a first issue, this is already much better than the last several DC events.
Yes, as people who suffered through reading, what was it? Absolute Power, Beast World.
Right? Was it Beast World?
I believe it was Beast World. This is already off to a much better start. Night Terrors as well, yeah.
Dark Crisis was actually surprisingly solid.
We did enjoy Dark Crisis. Yeah. We did
That's
a full
4 events ago now,
Crisis,
because he's doing 2 a year at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was quite solid. I think that it has a lot of characters, and that is always a tough thing. And I think the good thing about the format of this event is, in theory, the further we go, the less characters we should have.
Yeah.
And hopefully that's going to allow for a bit more characterization. Because we don't get a ton here. We get some fun stuff, I think, for several characters, but the kind of initial thing that happens is there's a mad dash to see who's actually going to get to be in the tournament. And there's so many characters, I'm I feel like I wanted more than just they didn't make it, But that being said, I think this was very solidly done. It actually managed to have a surprise that they kind of pulled on us based on the way that they promoted certain things that I thought was very fun. Yeah, I think Scott Snyder does a good job with the setting the stage of it and all the captions and stuff. I will say it's not anything against specifically, but Javi Fernandez is not my favorite style artist wise. It's just not something that personally jives with me a ton. So that's something that I think took it a little bit down in my personal knowledge. But this was a fun first issue.
That's fair. I think that I enjoyed Javi Fernandez in a lot of the kind of bigger scenes and action scenes. It's when we get a little closer on faces that I'm
Agreed.
I don't know that this is for me.
Fully agreed.
But super effective, and they did a lot of fun things with the art, with the page layout. They did a couple of really nice splashes, and they did a little board game track to feed into the through line. And I think what I was most worried about with DCKO was how they were going to justify its existence. And I think that in a vacuum they did a really good job of that. If I'm gonna zoom out and be whoever wins just gets to bring everyone back to life, okay, that's a little cheesy. But in a vacuum, I really liked it, and I feel like it was something where if you're going to justify doing an event like this, I am happy to be okay, this is a dumb justification, but it works. I don't need there to be... I would rather them be upfront about something like that than have it be oh, and in the end, whoever wins, they wish for the universe to go back to the way it was. I think that is... I think this is a lot more fun. Having it done up front, it's this is dumb. This is a dumb reasoning.
Yeah.
But
it
gives us truly the justification.
Was a little... Again, I don't know that there's a way they could have done it where it wasn't rough, but it is just the what do you want to call the alliance of all our like cosmic-y time traveling
the
characters?
quorum.
The
It's like the
quorum,
quantum quorum or something.
Yeah, like they just all come. They're like, we know exactly how this works, and like
Yeah.
this is exactly how it works. This is exactly how it's gonna happen, and this is exactly what's gonna happen to whoever wins. And it's like, okay.
Hey, they specifically say we think this is probably what's gonna happen.
Yes, but then they go into like super fine detail about how like every element.
Yeah.
It's like we think, but also we know exactly how it's going.
Yeah.
But and then also we do get, not to spoil, because there are some crazy things I think at the end of this.
There's some really cool things at the end.
Yeah. Which is I think the third chapter is really rad. Again, I think it's a little bit too many characters to really like follow much of the like, oh, who's making it in, like they kind of Scott Snyder has to do a lot of explaining and like stuff in there because there's just a ton of characters. But I've lost my train of thought. What was I saying before the ton of characters thing?
The cool things at the end.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of cool things that really surprise you at the end of this one, and some of that I think is like they end up kind of saying that some of it isn't actually how our quorum thought, it was gonna go. So that was kind of nice.
Yes.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a fun for. I feel like the best thing here is that I had a lot more fun with this than like a lot of the DC events have been me like facepalm and be like, seriously, this is what we're doing. Whereas this one I'm just like, this is fun. Like, yeah,
exactly.
It's a little dumb, but it's really fun.
I think a lot of DC events have like a lot of them try to feel like, I don't know, self-important feels like a really mean description, but it's like every single event is trying to be like a new defining event for DC. And this one's literally like, well, if all goes well at the end, everything will be back to normal.
This is truly just a break for fun. This event just exists to be the basis of like whatever's going to be in Justice 3, but not actually in Justice 3, but like the next DC fighting game. I'm like 95% sure that's the only reason this exists, but they're going to have fun with it.
I don't know. Like, my hot take is that Scott Snyder was like, I'll do the Absolute Universe. And also, you have to let me do this. I feel like we got like fighting tournament.
Comic book DLC fighters, and that has me like fully believing that they're DLC.
I mean, that's very fair. There's no reason there can't be a happy marriage, but I choose to believe this is something that Scott Snyder has wanted to do for years.
It does seem like something Scott Snyder really wanted to do. And like I feel like there's also an evolution, an evolution of the book through it being Scott Snyder.
Oh yeah,
knows how to handle stuff like this.
And like you said, Scott Snyder is like a master of captioning. Like
he just created an event where we need a lot explained because there's just so many freaking characters.
There's so much going on. I do think I still think that my little pet theory about Batman is still on the table. From when did we talk about DCKO?
Yeah, I'm not gonna come. I don't want to get into. I'm worried that I'm spoiling things. So
I'm not saying anything about anything.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that I think that my theory is still on the table
because I don't want to do it. But we'll talk.
That's fair. Yeah, we'll talk.
Yeah. No, it was fun. It was very fun.
It was very fun. Yeah, good start to an event.
Absolutely.
And I'm pleased that we picked it up after being burned by so many events in a row. But what did you think of DCKO? Did you fill out a bracket to fill in? Let us know who you think is going to win the whole thing in the comments down below, and we're going to move right along to Batman Dark Patterns.
Batman Dark Patterns, issue 11. The writer is Dan Waters, who's worked on Nightwing, Lucifer, and the Six Fingers. He's also somebody that we've interviewed on the podcast, so you should check out that interview when you get the chance. The artist is Hayden Sherman, who's worked on Absolute Wonder Woman, Chicken Devil, and Detective Comics. The colorist is Shriona Farrell, and the letter is Frank Kavetovich. Katie,
yes,
we're almost done.
We're almost done.
The penultimate issue of Dark Patterns. Talk to me.
Yeah, I think that this does a good job of feeling like a penultimate issue. Like, we have Batman in a really low place, and I will say, I think that the problem that you had, I believe, if I remember correctly, with last issue is maybe one that I'm feeling a little more with this one, where it feels like almost the second penultimate issue in a row, where it's like, okay, we're just kind of spinning our wheels to get to where we're getting to. And I think that was a little rough, because it was kind of a it's an issue where not a ton of stuff happens. Like, stuff is kind of revealed, and we have Batman doing some figuring. But I think that I was really forgiving of that because I really like, no secret, I love Hayden Sherman's art. But I think that specifically the fact that they make such interesting pages really helps when it's an issue that doesn't have like a bunch of action happening. Exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
Fully agree with that.
I feel like, because I was thinking about it after the issue, and I was like, wow, I enjoyed that issue quite a bit, and I think that part of it is because, like, oh, I didn't feel like the wheels were just turning underneath us, but then I was like, what happened in this issue? Nothing really happened with Firefly. Bruce is kind of, turning himself on and off again, and our progress with the arsonist is, we get like the big kind of set piece at the very end, but I'm like, okay, there's not a lot of big things happened in the issue, but I still really enjoyed it, and I think it's because it feels like that kind of coming together of puzzle pieces. Like, it's about to click into place.
I agree.
And so it's got me really excited about the last issue of it, because I think that's going to be a really fun and really good payoff. But I think that maybe my trickiness with it was like, it feels almost like I don't quite know. I know how Batman's getting to where they're going, and as we all know, I'm a big sucker for like the pseudo history of Gotham City. So like, I love the introduction of like the Great Fire and stuff. I think that's super fun.
It's wild to me though that this book essentially was happening at the same time that Batman and Robin was doing such similar stuff.
Oh yeah.
Editorial. Please keep two books from doing like almost the same plot at the same time.
But that's fine, because Batman Dark Patterns is doing it better.
I agree, but that's why they shouldn't both be doing it, because then you're left going, well, this one did it better.
That's why we shouldn't be left with the fatigue of 12 months of Batman and Robin doing the same thing. Yeah, so I really enjoyed this issue. I feel like it has good ramp up into the finale. And I think it was really aesthetically beautiful.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that it's a combination of Hayden Sherman's layouts, but also I think a big thing is like the fact that more is revealed in this issue. I think that makes it feel less like it's spinning its wheels, even if it's not like even when the information isn't necessarily like coming out slowly in a way that makes it feel like the book is moving forward. At the end of it, you still kind of feel like you're in a different place. I enjoyed this issue more than issue 10. So that's my best like diagnosis for why the spinning its wheels didn't bother me as much in this issue. I also always enjoy Alfred being like in here because he hasn't been in Dark Patterns a ton, and I really liked his kind of placement in this issue. I thought it worked quite well. I really enjoy I like him pointing out that Hayden Sherman's artwork on the page where Bruce like leaves the pill behind. I thought was really, really great. Like the layout and everything on that page and the way that it flowed was just, it worked so well for me that moment. I was like, yeah, I was like, that's Alfred and Batman right there. That's how it goes. I like that. So yeah, I think this worked a lot better than issue 10 in my opinion, and it does have me very excited for the final issue. But yeah, editorial, who the fuck approved two Batman books having almost like just such identical plot lines at the same time?
Like the fires that, created Gotham City.
Yeah, being like redone in the modern day. Like, that's too similar. It's the same thing.
No, Jay, it's a pattern.
It's not a pattern when this takes place like 15 years before the other one. Batman doesn't bring it up.
But that's an editorial problem.
Yeah,
and a Batman and Robin
and this
problem.
Isn't we complained about something and we realized like, oh, they don't have the same group editor, even though it was dumb. I think it was Titans and Nightwing.
It was Titans and Nightwing,
for some reason. Weird decision. There is no way that these two Batman books do not have the same group editor because they're both Batman, so they're definitely both under the Batman group.
Bonkers.
Stay on top of that, please.
Stay on top of that editorial. Yeah. But dear listeners, did you enjoy this issue of Batman Dark Patterns? And what do you think is the most flammable building in Gotham City? Let us know. in the comments down below, and we're going to talk about another Batman book. We're going to talk about Batman The Long Halloween, The Last Halloween. Batman The Long Halloween, The Last Halloween, number 9. The writer here is Jeff Loeb of Batman The Long Halloween, Superman and Batman, and The Hulk. The artist is Chris Samney of Firepower, Daredevil, and Batman and Robin Year 1. The colorist is Dave Stewart, and the letterer is Richard Starkey. Jay, it's back at long last. Huh?
This is a book that should never have had this level of delays. What is going on? There's a different artist every issue. Jeff Loeb, is this really you? You taking that long to write scripts?
How could it be?
I just can't think of what else it would be. Unless it's just that they really picked out artists without worrying about what their schedule was and were committed to it being those artists each issue. That being said, I love Chris Samney. I think he's freaking
Same.
awesome. I thought he killed it in this issue. I think this is maybe the best looking issue of Batman Long Halloween, Last Halloween. He's fucking awesome. He's great. Every page of this book looked epic. I loved it. It was rad. That being said, I remember very little of where we left off in this story, which made it a little rough. But I thought this issue
coming back to the penultimate issue.
Yeah, I thought this issue did a good job though of setting up a final issue. We talked about the reveal of information in Dark Patterns. I thought that it was very similar in this issue, but even better in terms of the way that they were pulling back and revealing things. Oh, that's cool. I like that. I like the way that that's going. That works. I like the way that everything's connecting. I just wish that I remembered what pieces we had so that I could be oh, everything's connecting and I knew these pieces.
Honestly, I think maybe it's better that we didn't, because I remember us not being super thrilled with
But I'm just trying to be this was a really, really good issue. But I really wish that I remember what the fuck happened in the last issue.
It feels like it feels like when you turn to a regular old TV station and it's in the last third of a movie and you're oh, this is really cool, but I feel like I should have more context.
You go back and watch the movie and you're oh, that did not actually give context.
It's oh man, I liked it better when it was just the last third.
Yeah. It's my sister watched the last new trilogy Star Wars movie, and she really enjoyed it, but she assumed that everything that happened in that movie was set up, and none of it was.
And you know what? Sometimes you can just live in that blissful, happy land. So I just won't go back and reread Batman Long Halloween, Last Halloween, and I'll just pick it up from here and be wow, cool. But yeah, it's really, really great. I really love Chris Samney's art.
So good.
It's so good, and like you said, I feel it's such a good I don't know, heir to Tim Sale's art, with the kind of almost kind of flat and blocky colors and stuff, place for colors, whatever. The way that
want to read Batman and Robin Year 1, honestly.
I have all of them. I've been pulling it literally from the start. It's really, 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 really great art. Really like it. Super fun, and like you said, I feel the big reveals were done really well, and I'm wow, this feels like an emotional impact.
Yeah,
great.
And
I'm just happy to kind of
start these books with the date too, and they were supposed to be it's August 2nd. No, it's October.
It's currently October. Again, it was to its benefit though. But yeah, so I think that they did a really good job also with the characterization. This one was so tight on Batman and Catwoman, which I think was also a huge boon for it. Because they get we've talked about Jeff Loeb writing just really kind of writing Batman. It's not an
not
interpretation
his Batman.
of Batman. Yeah.
Just Batman.
Exactly. It's Batman. It's Catwoman. And it feels like them kind of distilled to their core, and the way that they interact here I think is really a part of that as well.
I love when she's climbing him and then he's it was such a good comic book sequence. It used the medium so well to where you have these freeze frame moments of them adjusting position as they're talking to each other, and you're getting the characters, and it's oh yeah, that's good classic Batman and Catwoman right there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so I think that this issue had a lot going for it. It was surprisingly, like you're saying, a total hit. In a way that Long Halloween literally hasn't felt since the Free Comic Book Day preview of it.
Yeah, which actually was Tim Sale.
Which was Tim Sale, yeah.
Oh
yeah, I wasn't just talking about the art. I was talking about like the series.
No.
Like,
but I
the
was saying, like,
story
that issue was like the original team. Like that was before they had to start making concessions and like figuring stuff out. So this being towards that, I think is such a boon. And I feel like I said this for one other artist, but I'm gonna replace that with this artist, and I think Chris Simon just should have done this whole series.
Agreed. Yeah. Would have been rad.
Would have been rad.
Or maybe it wouldn't have, because maybe the story would have stayed the same. And it still would have been very confusing. Iconic. But yeah, how do you feel about Batman, The Long Halloween, The Last Halloween? Especially in the context of it also coming out right around when Hush 2 was coming out. Like, there's a lot of return to Jeff Loeb happening
and the
in
final
the Batman
issues, I think, in 2 weeks, like, if I'm not mistaken, they like put these tightly together now so that it'll wrap up in October. So yeah, we'll be back with more Last Halloween real soon to tell you about the conclusion.
Absolutely. But until then, we're gonna move on to Transformers number 25 and the return of one Robert Kirkman. I guess not return, but he bought the universe, so.
Transformers issue 25. The writer of the series is Robert Kirkman, who's worked on The Walking Dead, Invincible, and Void Rivals. The artist is Dan Mora, who's worked on Justice League Unlimited, Superman, and Power Rangers. And the other artist is Jorge Corona, who's worked on Batman, Ain't No Grave, and Middle West. The colorist is Mike Spicer, and the letterer is Russ Wooten. Katie, we dropped Transformers, I think, around like issue 10 or something like that.
Yeah, it was, I think, after the first arc or the second arc, whatever it was.
It was definitely in the second arc because Jorge Corona had taken over art duties from Daniel Warren Johnson. Which I also I just want to shout out. I really liked like the idea of doing like the transition within the book of like,
right.
We'll
I thought that was
Corona,
super fun,
and then we'll go to Dan Mora. I was like, that's rad, actually.
And I think that it also worked really well with like the split in the book of like the Decepticon section and then the Autobot section. Like, I think that was really, really fun. Yeah. But it also highlighted, I think, I don't want to say my problem with it, because I want to say it as my problem, where it's like there are so many characters in these books. And I'm sure that to somebody who's like watched the cartoons, or maybe even someone who's read all 24 issues before this, maybe they're able to keep them more straight. But from the time that we were reading Transformers, I was already having a lot of trouble with who all of these trucks were, and it did not get better coming back.
Like,
I appreciate that Robert Kirkman was like, okay, now let me give you a lineup of all of the Decepticons. And I'll call them each by name and insult each of them so you know their deal. And I'm like, in one ear, right out the other. Like, in one eye, right out the other.
Not to mention, though, because they weren't fully standing in line either, so I wasn't even 100% sure which each thing was referring to.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, like, look at the way they're lined up. I can't tell which bubble over here necessarily goes with which one of these.
Well, the good news is there are context clues, because they all have such wild names. Like Long Haul is the trucker.
Yes. Again, some of them absolutely. Yeah. Some of them
less so.
It's a little bit tougher to tell which one's called Scrapper. Like.
But I did love, I'm gonna call it out because it was like my favorite moment in the book, just because you pulled up that spread. I love that he was going through and roasting every single Decepticon.
Oh, I love
And then he got to like the robot bird and was like, you are like my most loyal companion, but I expect more. Like, I like that he didn't have a roast for his bird. It's like, what more could the bird be doing? That really stopped me and made me laugh.
Honestly, for me, the Decepticon section was my favorite. I just love
it. Was so cool.
Megatron like showing up and just be like, "You all fucking suck."
Yeah, and I appreciate, because I feel like the Transformer that I have the most emotional weight in is Starscream, because we also read the I Have No Mouth But I Must Starscream Halloween special,
which was really good.
Which was so crazy good. Check out our Halloween specials video from last year.
Absolutely. We could try to do another one this year.
Maybe.
we could. That was fun. Anyway.
But I really loved his, like, how Megatron dealt with him, like, throwing him into the scrap pile and then his, like, glowing red eye. I'm like, oh, that's so good. That's, like, really...
I thought the Decepticon section was honestly super rad. I was like, that is a way to immediately kind of re-engage me with... I'm assuming villains have just been defeated, like, heavily for 24 issues straight, so it's like, you know... This feels like a good way to, with a new creative team, be like, yeah, no, you gotta
absolutely. Though I do also love the idea of coming back to this book and be like, okay, and the Decepticons have their underwater base. They're living on the seafloor. Like, that's also very fun to me to just come back to. But then I also did really like the Autobot section. I think that the part where Optimus Prime kind of peeled off and went away with, like, the military guy was better to me than the other parts of it. Probably because I didn't have to keep track of two identical looking Transformers.
And then they were introducing to us each of the important people in this military base, and that I can keep straight to, like, two.
And they aren't Transformers with the exact same color scheme.
Exactly.
Like, I know that these characters already existed, so Optimus Prime and whoever the rebar one was, it was like the Magnus something. I did not realize that they were different characters. Well, because Optimus Prime has already had, like, adjustments made to him, so I was like, is that not also Optimus Prime? It was fine.
I think the issue is that a lot of these were created as, like, slight variant toys that then got their, like, own identity. Ultra Magnus.
Ultra Magnus.
So sometimes they look exactly the same because they are literally, like, recolored toys.
Yeah, so I think that it's deeply unfortunate because the first two arcs of Transformers were incredibly good. Like, writing-wise, art-wise, and I feel the same here, but I'm like, oh man, I think it's the Transformers of it all. Like, I just can't keep them straight.
In this book. And it was definitely a thing where it's like, I don't know if maybe I really need the Transformers lore, if I really need to have read the whole thing, but, like, a lot of the character stuff was like, oh man, I feel like I do not know enough about what is going on. Yeah, I did like the military thing. I thought that was cool. I felt like I kept waiting for it to be, like, a very cliche, like, oh, and then he's gonna become a mustache twirling, you know, general thing. And I really liked that wasn't how it went.
Agreed.
And it made me buy in a lot more to, like, oh no, this could be a cool, interesting, like, not even necessarily a tentative alliance, but, you know, alliance that will probably always be like, oh, you know, what is the military guy actually going to be, you know, after throughout. And I thought the Decepticons half was super rad. I thought Jorge Corona was really in his bag on that. It looked real rad.
Hey, that's why he was my top artist of 2024.
That's true. Go back and watch our top artist of 2024 video. Yeah. But yeah, I thought it was a very good issue, but I'm definitely sitting there like, I don't know enough about Transformers.
Yeah, dear listener, do you know a lot about Transformers? And if you do, or if you don't, how do you think that affects your reading of the Transformers comics? Let us know down below, and if you want to see a Transformers Invincible crossover or Transformers The Walking Dead crossover. Why not? Shoot for the stars.
Zombie Decepticons.
Zombie robots. Yeah. But we are going to move right along and talk about the new issue of Blood and Thunder. Blood and Thunder number 6 is coming to us from writer Benito Cereno of Invincible Presents Adam Eve and Rexplode, and Hector Plasm. The co-story credit goes to Robert Kirkman of Invincible, The Walking Dead, and Void Rivals. The artist is E.J. Sue of Tech Jacket, Cloudfall, and Transformers. The colorist is Miss Sasek, and the letter is Russ Wooten. Jay.
Yes.
We have
a big prisoner.
Yeah.
He's back.
He's back.
And he's fucking amazing.
And he's better than ever.
Best part of this book. I love this man. He is so entertaining. And him interacting with Blood and Thunder is, I think, just such a highlight of the book. This definitely felt like the book being back to being Blood and Thunder.
Yeah.
Which to me is, like, such a huge win. EJ Sue got to be, like, in his bag in this issue, doing rad thing after rad thing. I love our prisoner so much, and I really liked the writing for him in this issue. I will say, as much as I like this issue a lot, like, in a vacuum of its issue, it did make me by the end of it go, why the hell did we spend like the issues
Agreed.
setting up this planet? Because it feels completely pointless based on where this issue ended up. That being said, as its own issue, I thought this issue was really, really good. It puts a lot more, I think, like pressure on Blood, like morally and like in knowing what she's doing. And it also, I think, ups our villains like threat level, because we see them. Maybe spoiler. I'm trying not to get too spoiled, but we see they have a lot of difficulty trying to catch Mr.
Oh
Kristen.
yeah, not for the first time either.
Not for the first time. I also think there's a lot of this issue was incredibly funny, but in like a very not in like a making fun of the situation way. It's just in a very naturally funny way. Like there's a point where she's like just putting random shit in her gun in Thunder. Thunder's like, oh man, that worked. What was that? And she's like, random shit. And he's like, give me more random shit. And I'm like, I love it.
We love Thunder in this house.
Thunder's awesome. Thunder was so great. We said that in these Skybound books, the like AI assistants are always hilarious.
They do such a good job with them.
It's great. But yeah, I thought this was a very entertaining issue. It's also a like fairly simple issue, I think, plot-wise. But
it's very much point A to point B.
Yeah, I think that's honestly based on the 6 issues of Blood and Thunder. I think that's where Blood and Thunder thrives, where it's like, okay, plot's simple, and so the characters can really be what's shining in this book. Because Blood, Thunder, and our prisoner are, I think, such rad characters. So yeah, very fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you that the fact that we're like at the end of the issue where we don't seem to be staying on this planet, it makes it really tough to be like, well, why did we spend that whole issue doing like the planet,
internal
setup
politics
stuff
and stuff of the world,
But I actually kind of like it, weirdly. And let me tell you why. I feel like in a book that is, pretty much guaranteed ongoing, like they have they didn't start this as like a mini series. They didn't start this as, a pitch on a larger story. It's like, no, we're starting this as an ongoing. I'm like, you know what? If we're just like exploring this universe and we want to take a little like trip down genre lane every so often, I'm not mad at that. Like, I think that it adds a sense of kind of, I don't know, fluidity to the book, where I'm like, yeah, it's about Blood and Thunder, and that's where I agree that I think that's where it's at its best. But I'm also like, you know what? If EJ Sue and Benito Cereno are like, you know what would be really fun to do? And then they just like go to a cowboy planet, and the first issue of that little bit is exploring this cowboy planet. I'm like, you know what? Sure, I'm along for the ride.
Was that I didn't love this excursion, so the fact that it didn't then add to the plot meant to me it wasn't worth it.
No,
if they did go to like a cowboy planet, I would probably find that rad. I'd be like, I don't care, that doesn't matter. But this particular planet was like, I didn't.
Yeah, no, that's super duper fair.
And review, and I was like, that wasn't for me.
Yeah, and I think my thing is looking at it from a like structural point of view. Where I'm like, you know what? I don't mind us taking little detours.
No, I agree with that. Absolutely.
Yeah. But this issue was really, really good. I think that Thunder hasn't really gotten to be on display a lot lately. Like, in the first 1 or 2 issues, you get a lot more of the interactions between Blood and Thunder. Yeah. And then we had a lot more stuff going on. So I think that the fact that, 1, Thunder is interacting with Blood a lot more, and 2, Thunder even interacts with the villain, the prisoner.
Yeah, I thought that was rad. Because Blood gets, like, tongue-tied, essentially, in the moment, and that was a really great interaction.
Yeah, and I'm like, you know what? I like that Thunder gets to be like its own character, if that makes sense. Like, it's not just
very solid
the sidekick. Yeah. Like, Thunder, yes, but only in relation to Blood so far.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh no, other people can hear this gun talking too. Like, so I really liked that. I thought that was super duper fun. So yeah, just really solid issue across the board.
Fully agreed. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think the prisoner's name is, dear readers? He asks if we know it, and we're all embarrassed to say no.
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments down below. And we are going to move on to our last book of the pod, Godzilla, number 3.
Godzilla, number 3. The writer is Tim Seeley of Nightwing, Hackslash, and Batman Eternal. The artist is Nicola Kismasia, who's worked on Batman and Robin, Batman Urban Legends, and Sword of Azrael. The colors is Francesco Segala, with coloring assistance from Gloria Morinelli, and the letter is Nathan Wittick. Katie.
Yes.
I think we quite liked the first issue, and the second issue was a slight, I think, a downgrade from that. How are you feeling about issue 3 of Godzilla?
I really liked the end of this issue. I think most of it. There's really fun action at the start, and I like that. Oh, and there was the big mech guy. Yeah, I forgot about him.
Yeah.
Because there's kind of like a that certainly will be relevant to something. One would think, with the way that the issue went. But it was also just like a fun interlude at the start to see a mech fighting Godzilla. It felt very kind of like anthology-y, because I recently, just for funsies, read the Godzilla versus Chicago anthology, and I was like, oh, this feels like something that would fit in like Godzilla versus Atlanta, because it felt very kind of close in a really fun way. The problem that I have is I don't know that
Always the problem.
Always the problem. You know what? That's what makes conversation. Because just saying that I really like Nicola Kismasia's art is not exciting, but I do. I like their art a whole lot. I think that it's super cool.
Agree.
Yeah,
it's very fun.
My one problem with the book is that I don't feel super bought into the characters. Like, I liked the backstory that we got on Jason in the past. I don't remember if it was in the first or second issue.
I think it was in the first issue.
Yeah. And I think that was really exciting, but I don't love the like characters' relationships to each other.
I'm starting actually to quite like the Doctor and Jason pairing. I think that's starting to be.
That's towards the end of the issue. I'm like, okay, maybe, but I'm still not like super bought into it. Is my problem. And I think that in a book where, you know, in between kaiju fights, it's all about these characters' relationships. I'm like, I like the kaiju fights
we enjoyed a lot
much better.
In issue 1. You know, like in issue 1, they were doing a very good job of setting the stage for each of these characters. We had Jason interacting with the like worker dude who was a little bit suspicious.
Yeah.
So like there was a lot of good stuff at the front end, and I do think unfortunately that has all trailed off. That's why I'm a little bit more interested in this pairing, because at least it's tighter, and hopefully that'll help that, you know, build into something I don't know, a little bit stronger.
That's fair. Well, I like the book. It's definitely my least favorite of the Godzilla books.
Agreed.
But it's really fun. Like when they're fighting these leeches, they get to do like fun little action sets. Like Jason can't use his Kaisei power on them because it's, you know, backfires, and so the nuke person like does a big fire blast, and you get a lot of fun aesthetics with that. And like fighting kaiju is just always fun. I don't know that there are many people who would disagree with that. So it's got that going for it, for sure.
Yeah, I mostly pretty much agree with you across the board. It's a very like you said, the opening is very almost anthology. It's just kind of a good fun time. Nicola Kismasia gets to do a lot of fun stuff action wise in this issue, and yeah, I think a lot of the character stuff could be improved. Like I said, I do like the pairing of Jason and the Doctor, whose name I have forgotten.
Mine,
so I apologize.
Me too.
To our Doctor lady.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's. I'm interested to see where it goes, because I feel like once it does seem like the next issue is going to be probably the like blow off of this first arc, which is building to like the Godzilla Jason
showdown
rematch, which you had mentioned is like your the thing that you're least interested to see. But it makes me somewhat hopeful that once we get into like a second arc, we'll be doing maybe some more character focused stuff after we kind of do this initial rematch. But who knows? What we will see. Continuing in this, but
we will.
I am still bought into the universe, and so this is kind of the linchpin. So gotta, you know, hopefully this will kind of reach with the other two. But the other two also probably have more, you know, because of that they have a bit more, you know, room to just kind of do their own thing. They're not carrying like the full Godzilla.
Exactly. But still super fun. Are you a Godzilla fan? And if so, which of the new Godzilla titles is your favorite going on right now? I think mine is Starship Godzilla. Even though it's only been one issue.
It's only been one issue.
But it's so good.
But it was very good.
Yeah. But that takes us to the most exciting part of the show where we get to pick our favorite book from the week. It's time for the pull list rec. Jay, do you know what you are going to be wrecking this pull list?
No, I actually don't.
I have mine, oddly.
I think I'm debating between a couple here, so I'm gonna let you go.
You debate. I'm gonna say, to no one's surprise more than mine, I'm gonna give my pull list rec this week to Batman: The Long Lost Halloween. The Long Last Halloween.
Oh,
yeah.
The Long Lost Halloween.
Yeah, basically.
They just can't find that Halloween.
They can't find that Halloween. I think that there was a lot of exciting stuff going on.
Yeah.
And I think that, frankly, it's a great pull list rec because maybe don't read the rest of them and just have your last third of the movie moment.
There you go. Solid plan.
Yeah.
I think maybe also surprisingly, I think I'm going to give mine a DCKO this week.
I think it deserves it. It was up in the air between the two of them for me.
It's a very good first issue of an event. It works really well. I'm gonna annoy Katie by saying it's good bang for your buck because of all the pages they give you.
It always makes me laugh. I don't know why. What a goober.
But yeah, I'm genuinely actually very excited for this event. Whereas I feel like every other time we've had a first issue of an event recently, I've been like, am I gonna finish this event?
And the answer every time has been no.
No. Yeah. But we're gonna actually be continuing it this coming week as we talk about the Titans issue that ties into it. Do you want to tell the people the rest of the books that we have?
Absolutely. So that's going to be Titans number 28. We'll also be reading Ghost Pepper number 4, Godzilla Escape the Dead Zone number 3, Invincible Universe Presents Battle Beast number 6, Nightwing number 131, Racer X number 2, Shredder number 2, D&D The Fallbacks, number 1, and super exciting, everybody go to your stores and pick it up, Bigfoot Knows Karate from friend of the pod is back in stores. Stores for the first time, but we backed them on Kickstarter. We love Bigfoot Knows Karate.
So yeah, you can go and watch our interview with Dan Price.
Yes.
It's up on the channel right now.
Yeah.
We had a very fun time talking to him about actually his book called Latex Avengers.
Yes.
Which was a wild time.
Condom-themed superhero. You don't get enough of those.
Yeah.
A prophylactic on crime. But Jay, what bonus episodes do we have happening on the channel?
Yeah, so we just put up our ranking the original Valiant comics tier list, which was a ton of fun. We had ranked the original Image comics about a month ago, so you can also check that out. But
Valiant,
the Valiant
disagreed on a lot more, which was interesting.
Yeah, because it's bigger swings, which was really like either we liked it or we didn't like it. But it was a fun time, and I think we had some good conversations about those books, so definitely check it out. But we have another episode coming up this week. Katie, tell the people the extra special thing we have going on for them.
Yes, we have an interview with Cullen Bunn, writer of Invasive, which we've done on the pod, Jump Scare, which we've done on the pod. We've done other Cullen Bunn. Monsters Are My Business, and My Business is Bloody. But also, iconically, Green Lantern, Lost Army, Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, and all of those other Deadpool.
Arrow County, Sixth Gun. A ton of awesome stuff. Yeah. And we're going to be giving away actually a signed copy of his new series Deluge for Ignition Press that we actually freshly got signed at New York Comic Con.
And speaking of cons, we are both going to be at Baltimore Comic Con over this weekend.
Yes.
So if you see us, say hi or shoot us a DM on Instagram if you want to hang out, because we need friends always and forever.
Depressing note to end on, but that is going to be the end of this episode of the Script Heroes podcast. Watch another one after this if you don't want us to die homeless and foodless.
I had a sad end. Anyway, we'll see you next week. Comic Geeks.